Welcome to the hour of power. The hour of power.
And we can talk about restoration another time.
But if you are receiving true energy, as meek as it is,
Yes.
but you're receiving pure energy from God, then you're liberated from a lot of the competition, right? That goes on where leaders are backed by their rival leaders in the church and things like that. I mean, you just don't need that other sustenance. You don't need that other diet of energy. So if somebody comes along and they want to out leader you, you just blow it all. You're just like, that's
You
silly.
let him do it.
Yeah, you're just like, that's silly,
Yeah.
because this guy he's addicted to excessive leaderism, and that's his problem. I'm not going to compete with him and get infected by the same mindset because I'm already full.
Right.
I'm full because I've already been validated by my God and parent and true parent, and that's the way a blessed person should be sort of inoculated against temptation.
Right. Jesus, the Lord's Prayer, there's so much in there, but, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come here on earth as it is in heaven. Then he says, give us this day our daily bread. In other words, I will receive what you give me today, and I will be grateful.
Yeah, there's no lust in that.
There's no lust. Where's the competition? I don't need to worry about what my neighbor does or does not have. All that I have already comes from my Father and is a gift to me each and every precious day.
You know how many times there's this so-called big leader type in the room giving accolades to some other person in the room, and there's gnashing of teeth on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
In unificationism realm.
Or any realm.
This is ignorant. These are blessed people acting like they're still empty. It's absolutely satanic to take the most valuable gift and still act like you have nothing. That is why even Satan will accuse you. I don't know how they say it. He will say, even after you were given the most valuable thing, I was a thief and I took it and but you guys were given it and you still act like it's nothing. That's what's going on. That is what's going on.
Yep.
I'm saying, let's all, we know this is typical unification. We're in the meeting, and some high person in the room is giving attention to somebody else, and the person watching that exchange feels cut out, feels invalidated, and starts plotting to overthrow that other person or overshadow what they're doing in some kind of way, and you can't help it. That's lust. And it's only there because you missed. You feel you're starting out with emptiness common base with Satan. You're attracting him because of the emptiness. To cure the emptiness, perceive the value of what you've been given already. And there are people out there who haven't even gotten a blessing. So they can't even draw from the energy that you're failing to draw from. This is insanity in the Unification Church.
Yep. And for me, I'll conclude. I mean, Jamal may have more, but...
No, I'm done.
There is only one true God. And there should be no other gods before him. And the thing is, who defines who his anointed is and who is his lineage? I just want to briefly touch on John the Baptist. I was raised, I'm 4 generations Mormon. What a lot of people don't understand is the actual commission or assignment to start the Mormon faith formally comes from the spiritual vision and instructions the founder of the church, Joseph Smith, received from, guess who? Not Jesus, but John the Baptist.
So John visited Joseph Smith spiritually?
Yes. And that. And getting very synopsis, the purpose of the Mormon Church is to overcome the failure of John the Baptist. So I spent a lot of time, what's the real crime and sin of John? It's very, very simple actually in the end. The Creator, God himself, said directly to John, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." Now, think about that. Here's John. does he really? God spoke to him directly. God told him. And what does he do? He wanders away.
He entertains another narrative.
Right. He, in the end, he worships a different God. What is it? He didn't attend the true God. Because here's the thing. It's not a negotiation what your dad tells you.
Yeah.
If this is the heir, this is the heir. If this is my lineage, this is my lineage. It is not a choice. It is not a discussion. It is not a negotiation.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter how quirky Jesus was if he was born without Satan's claim.
Right.
And it wouldn't matter how, because he still stands as God's result. That Satan cannot say, well, this is kind of my result. Satan has no claim on Jesus, so God can clearly relate with him. It doesn't matter how quirky he is, if he farts or burps or if he's got underarm odor or whatever, or he shouts too loud or whatever. His identity is clear. And, John, I mean, he doesn't even know how to slice it. I mean, if he's still slicing it like, well, I have a job to do and my legacy and I'm going to go down in history as failed or success. He's thinking in terms of legacy, and he's following that narrative. And God's main narrative is to make man in his image and enjoy a child and enjoy a family. And John can't see that.
Right. And my point is, briefly restoration, but my point is John had to overcome something.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? In a sense, he has to overcome a false God.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll leave it to you folks. You can read, you can pray, you can study. It's not that difficult to understand what John's false God was. But the point is there's another vertical line that John is having give and take with other than God. And he has to first, you have to recognize your sin. How can you repent for something you're unaware of? You can realize there's a problem, but you have no ability to even begin to fix it because you don't even know what you're doing wrong yet.
Yeah.
So first you have to recognize your false God. Then you have to, what did Jesus say? Turn away. When Israel was turn away from the evil one and then embrace me. Or embrace your Father. That's all.
I was going to that is really important, that our false gods are so one with us.
Right.
That we have to, there are workshops to help people. I know, unless you have a very rigorous tradition of self-reflection, like personally you reflect and down to the bottom and question yourself, like one famous psychologist said, the unexamined life is not worth living, really. Mm-hmm. But your personal reflection accepts no BS. You tell yourself the truth about yourself and you dig down. Yes. You will find where you have a bad narrative inherited from bad parents or the bad world. And you will repent for it. But I think most people don't dig down deeply. They don't examine themselves rigorously. And so I'm probably saying this to the majority on the other side of this lens right here. A great workshop for me, even though I was pretty much a self-examining person, was the Landmark Forum. And they don't necessarily believe in God. They don't even talk about God. But the way they question motives in that workshop was really good for me as a unificationist to find out that, man, I was kind of driven by legacy a lot back in 2007. And I didn't see it. So if what Robert is saying is true, how could I repent and come back to God in that area when I don't even recognize that I was on that train? Right. So, I mean, we really can't afford to be kind of light and about this thing. I mean, you got to be desperate.
It's the first
of the
10 commandments.
I thought I was a good person. I didn't know that I was driven, like my so-called attendance to God was me attending legacy. Like when the people can remember me after my life, right? Then that's the love that will quicken me for eternity. I mean, it's so stupid. It is so stupid. But I was there and I didn't even see it. So don't take for granted that you grew up in this world and you could be infected in a similar way, and really ask God to help uncover that. And I have to mention the Landmark Forum because that's what uncovered a lot for me. So it's always open if they're still around, you know.
Yeah, and I just conclude, you know, the first of the 10 commandments is, there are no other gods before me, you know. But you know, in my own spiritual life and that, and it wasn't pretty. It's a real war. It's a real battle. Real spiritual bloodshed on the way, much of it mine, and those I affected. But I realized we are what we inherited from the false father and the fall is the first person we deceive and lie to each and every day is myself. And it is a huge, huge battle to really humble yourself and say, no matter how I feel, no matter how much I wish it was different, no. This is the true Father. This is the true God. This is His Word. This is His commandment. Do I value that above all things or not? Lucifer said no, and said, wait, I know better. That's his lie, not only to Eve, but to himself. And you want to know what? He truly believes it. He really does. And you talk to any ardent communist, they truly believe that they can make the ideal world through
We've
communism.
seen a world of deluded people. What makes
And
you
yet they will burn and destroy and send people to gas chambers, gulags, wipe it all out. Because they believe the deception within themselves. So my point, what I'm driving at is, being meek and humble and all this doesn't really start with our relationships outside of ourselves. It starts with the relationship inside of us to our true parent. And I will conclude with that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.